So this position he just captured on e5. The bishop just bishop to c5. The rook is not attacking the knight. Faustino has to actually move the knight away because the knight is actually going to hang. If he goes knight to f3, there's actually bishop takes e3, pawn takes e3, takes e3. So I think he will actually go queen to c4 if you just capture the rook, then just capture the queen on b3. So you have to capture on c4 first, and then capture back with the knight. And if you ever play bishop takes e3, then just take back with the knight, and the knight is absolutely protected. Exactly, very good. Now bishop e3, then the knight just takes it back to e3. And what is supposedly going to be exactly perfect game by Faustino. Now just rook to c1, rook to d4, actually doubling up the rooks, eventually preparing d4, rook b1, eventually b5, and then attacking on the queen side. Ooh, Nepomniachtchi that played the ghost move. That's actually how it goes. He might eventually play knight c4, knight to c4 to b6, trying to attack the rooks. Rook to b5, now b4, trying to protect the a5 pawn just to get the a rook into the game. Pawn to b6, he just snaps it back, rook takes b6. Actually, the problem is that the knight is actually jumping to d5. No, the engine doesn't like that, but it doesn't matter. No, they just trade off. The endgame should be a draw. Would it actually be? We've seen grandmasters blundering a lot of endgames. Rook to d1, trading off the rooks. Okay, this should be a draw now, but Faustino is up a pawn, so we never know what might eventually happen right here. Rook e3, king f3, rook e4, rook c2, h5, rook a2, rook e4, king e3. He's really trying to push those pawns, trying to make it into a queen. Super aggressively play by Faustino Oro. Rook to a rook to d5, trying to push h5, king h2, rook g2, king g2, h5. Now he's trying to win this rook ending. He's actually going to create a pass pawn since he has a 2 versus 1. He's capable of doing so. Rook to b1, rook to d3, king to f2 instead of king to f4, pawn to f4. He wants to push those pawns. Rook to d6. He tries to push g5. The problem is that you can't. Yeah, I have to go king g7. Otherwise, g5 and the f pawn is pinned. So king to g3, rook to b4, rook to a6. It's very hard to actually keep pushing. G5, he fixed the pawn structure, but now he can just start giving attacks from behind. The king is on g8. Is the king actually weak enough? Let's be careful, we'll just not get mated by king to h4, rook to a7. He's really trying to, but actually Nepomniachtchi will never actually trade the rooks off. If the rooks are traded off, then it will of course be a draw. Rook to d5. If the king gets to e6 and f6, it's actually going to be a loss. Rook to e1. If king to the if king there, then rook e7 would have been a draw. King g8. G5. He really tries to push and get this draw clinched. Oh, rook f5, and now of course it's a draw.